Hey guys, welcome back to Bright Night Tech. My name is Berto and today we are working on part 2 of my 3D printed Mandalorian helmet. Now there was a huge gap between part 1 and part 2. Reason being, life happens, I got sick, and then I ruptured my eardrums, so I couldn't really work on any projects. But yeah, we're here now. So we are gonna finish, we're gonna do a little more sanding, we're gonna paint, we're gonna throw the visor on, we're gonna do some graphite powder, but enough talk, let's get right into it. Alright, before we get started, I want to do a quick shout out to the file that I'm using. This was made by the Broken Nerd 83 on Thingiverse. Definitely go check it out, it is a wonderful file. Alright, so last time we finished doing that first filler primer. I am going to go ahead and glue these parts, the ears, with some super glue right before we get started on the sanding for the rest of it as a whole. So just a little bit of super glue, hold it in place. Alright, now the top ear, like that. Perfect, then we're going to do the same thing to the other side. Already glued that bottom part, here's the top part, and now we have the back part right here. And I printed the smaller parts on my Ender 3 Pro. We're just going to hold that in place. Okay, now we can go ahead and start sanding the whole thing together. Alright, now we are going to do a little bit of spot check with the wood filler, just like that. Alright, now this has dried overnight, now we're going to sand, and sand some more. Alright, now more filler primer, just like that. And then we're just going to continue on with the spot filling with the wood filler. Oh, also, I went ahead and made this stand that I'm very excited about. We'll paint that later. Alright, so more spots in with that wood filler. And we're going to sand it, and more filler primer. And more spot checks. More sanding. And more filler primer. Alright, now we're going to sand it to get it as smooth as possible. Here we go, and now, because it's smooth, we are going to go ahead and paint it black. After the black, we'll do the graphite. Okay, here is the black. It looks gorgeous. To be fair, it does look shiny because this is wet paint still. Once it dries, it's going to lose some of that shine, but I think it looks pretty good though. I really tried to smooth it out as much as possible. Alright, now before we get to the graphite, I do want to measure out and cut out the visor. I'm going to put it in the links below. This is like a face shield replacement part. It was only about like 15 bucks, something like that. Alright, I'm going to take a piece of paper. I'm going to use this method where I'm going to take a pen and get a rough shape for what the visor is going to look like. Then I'm going to cut the visor that I have, that face shield, into roughly the shape. I am going to leave a good amount of extra material just to cover any extra space. Alright, now as you can see, I just completely abandoned the idea, and then I am more freehanding it. Don't do it this way, because, I mean, look how terrible it looks. But here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do some Velcro on here, so I can stick it in, take it out as needed, and we're just going to stick that in place. Alright, here's the stand. I painted it silver. I'm going to do some simple black wash on it to give it kind of a dirty look, and that's all we're really going to do with it. Then we're just going to let it dry, and that's that. Okay, now believe it or not, this is actually just black. I know with the lighting and everything it looks kind of silver, but this is just that dried black paint that I did earlier. It's a glossy black. That's all this is. It is not silver, but it definitely does look like it in this light. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and use the graphite powder. This is the brand that I got. Now, remember, you want to wear gloves. It will get everywhere. Here are the cotton balls I'm using. A little tip, get the large cotton balls. Don't use these tiny ones like I did. They are a pain to use. All right, so I have my graphite powder. I'm going to dip my cotton balls in it, and then you're just going to start rubbing down. Just really, really hard. Just constant rubbing on the helmet here, and you can see it change to that very cool silver coloring. And you're just going to keep doing this. You're just keep buffing it with the graphite all over the helmet completely. Just and you're gonna keep going over and over it. Even when you think you're done, just go back and you want to rub really, really hard. You want to make sure it gets into that surface, just like that. And I mean, you can tell the difference of color between the original black and the graphite color silver that is going on, just like that. Okay, and here it is. And I know it still looks black, but under the right light, you can tell how silvery it looks. So here is what you're going to do to finish it. You are going to take your clear coat. You're going to give it a very light spray. You're going to leave it alone, and then you're going to go back and then you're going to do a medium spray. You're going to leave that alone for a few hours or overnight. Then you're going to do a complete wet coat over it, just a complete thing. Let it cure overnight. Then you're going to do the graphite powder again. Rub it really, really hard. And then once that's completely covered, you're going to let it cure overnight. And then you're going to wash it off with some warm water. It's a lot of steps, but it is the best way to get a good, that is the clear coat that I use. That is the best way to not leave fingerprints or anything like that. All right, so that last set of graphite has been put on there. So now I'm going to take some warm water. Sorry, my dirty sink here. And take some warm water, and then we're just going to wash it off. It's hard to do with one hand. I'm just kind of showing you, and then I'm going to cut and do it properly. And we're just going to get all that excess off. All right, now you're going to take a microfiber towel, and you're going to wipe it all off like this and get any excess stuff off of it. And then you're going to put the visor back on. And how about we do some glamour shots for this? And there you have it. And as always with my projects, there are obstacles to overcome, much like this one. So because it had been sitting around so long, when I finally got to the graphite powder part of it, I felt like it wasn't laying down as well or showing up as brightly as it could. So I repainted the whole thing and it went down smoother, but the color was still pretty dark. Obviously it's on a black, but somebody had suggested on one of the groups that I post on that next time I should use a lighter colored undercoat, like a gray or a white, before doing the graphite, and that would make the silver pop more, which I definitely want to do for my next attempt at a Mandalorian helmet. But I mean, I think it looks awesome, and best of all, it actually fits my big ol' head.
Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, put it in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell button for notifications. And we will see you next time. This is the way.